Good afternoon. My name is Teacher Aliza, and I am. Hold on. Good afternoon. Wait, hold on. I'm missing something here. Okay, I'm on. All right. Hello. Good afternoon, and welcome to SPM Prep 2020 program. Today, I'm Teacher Aliza, and my co-teacher, co-worker, colleague, Teacher Munjula will present English Language Paper 2, SPM 1119/2 on Section D, Poems and Novels. I will be doing the part of poems, whereas Teacher Munjula will be doing novels. We are going to give you tips on what you should do and what you should not do. Okay, without further ado, let me start. SPM poem. SPM poem, you have to read 4 poems, right? First one is Living Photograph. Second one, The Charge of the Light Brigade. These 2 poems are in Form 4. Then, A Poison Tree, and What Has Happened to Lulu. Both of these poems you have been taught in Form 5. Okay? So, what should you know? You should read all 4. Okay? All right? I will not play the video. All right? You should understand the poem. All right? Okay? You need to read it. Okay? And understand it. You may refer to this link, all right, by Teacher Hafizuddin Yahya from SMK Datuk Syed Ahmad Kedah on your own as a reference to just recall back what the poem is all about. Okay, for now, I'm going to touch on the format of Section D. As you know, Section D is a literature component. Okay, it consists of poems and novels. The time given is 35 minutes only. And the poem, roughly, all right, you need to do between 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, it depends on how fast you can answer and understand the poem and the questions. Now, number of parts. Okay, there are 4 questions here. A, question 32, A, B, C, D. All right, task types. A, B, C are, well, they are subjectives, of course, and A, B, C will be direct questions, meaning here you have to answer, the answer is taken directly from the poem. And the last one, D, question 32D, is hot questions. Okay, and the total marks are 5. Okay, 5 questions. Tips. Okay, you have to watch out for these words. Beware. Be alert. Okay, when answering the questions. Word, phrase, line. For word, okay, only one word. One means when the question asks for word, give a word, only one, just write one. Okay, all right, I give you an example here. All right, this one is taken from SPM trial question paper from Sarawak State 2017. All right, 32B in stanza 2, which word means made a serious mistake. All right, so the answer here, say, remember that? You can see that word. So should be one word. Okay, make a serious mistake. Also, the word inside there is blundered. All right. Okay. Then we have phrased. Okay. A phrase is more than one word. So you should write the answer, your answer, more than one word. 2, 3, 4, 5 words. Okay. All right. An example here. Okay. This one came out, I took it from last year trial paper from Johor. Okay. In stanza 1, which phrase shows that the persona's grandmother has a good posture? So the answer will be straight back. Now, these are phrased. Okay. Now, one tip here, make sure you spell the word when you write. The spelling must be correct. Okay, next will be line. Now, it means here whole copy, the whole line. You copy the whole line because the question asks for line. For example, okay, the persona used tricks. This question came out in SPM 2017. Which line in the poem refers to these tricks? So line. Just now, remember I said whole line? So you write down the whole line. Okay, there are several ways to do this, to write. Okay, there would be direct, short answer like this one. All right, or okay, you can write like this also, which is the proper way of writing it. All right. Now, you remember timing, right? So you have time, the timing. So you choose whichever you want. But I suggest to you, oopsie, I will suggest to you, oh, sorry about this. I'm going to my slide. Accidentally, I click on my slide. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay, coming back here. Okay. Sorry about that. I accidentally touched the oh dear, I go and okay, I'll go fast forward here. I'm so sorry about this. Okay, so you may refer to this. All right, sorry about that. Okay. All right, the format just now. Okay, remember 4 questions only, and all of them are subjectives. Okay, and 2 types, direct questions and HOTS. Okay, you have to watch out for these words: word, phrase, and line. Okay, the word, remember, only one word. Okay, for example, made a serious mistake, meaning also the insight from the poem is blundered. Then, okay, you have phrased, all right? More than one word. It asks for more than one word, phrase. So, straight back. You see the way I write the question, the answer, the question, straightforward. Here, direct, short answer. Okay, don't waste your time. Then line, if the question asks for line, okay, the whole line, you copy it, the whole line. All right, for example, here you see which line, okay, and you can write down the whole line like this, okay, directly copy it, or stanza 2, line 4, and the whole words, the whole sentence there. Okay, this is the proper formal one. Okay, oops, what's going on here? Okay. I think something is wrong. Okay, let me go back. I think the downloading just now. Okay, let me go exit back and I'll go back to my, oh shoot. Okay. Oh, it didn't download the whole thing. Okay, never mind. I'm going to do it here then. Hold on, I'm going to stop sharing for a while. Sorry about this. I'm going to click to another, I'm going to exchange it to another one. It doesn't download the whole thing. Okay. Let me go back here back again. Sorry. Okay, I'm already sharing with you. All right, just now, which is this one just now. Because I think something wrong with my just now the slide when I was downloading it. Okay, can you see this? I'm so sorry about this. Technical error with my slide. Sorry. Testing just now was fine. The downloading, I think. Okay. All right. Where were we? Okay, here. Now, when answering the HOTS questions, all right, there are two types here. Okay. One type is you list down your ideas or opinions because it asks you to list down. The other type is you agree or disagree and asking for you to give ideas. Okay, where type 1, okay, they ask you to list down ideas or opinions, all right? You have to give suggestions, okay? For example, like this, okay? The poet shows how she loves and appreciates her grandmother in the poem. Give 2 other ways how you can show your love and appreciation towards your family members. Okay, so it's a hot question. Therefore, you must answer it by giving reasonable answer. Okay, so perhaps, for example, how to show love, buy them presents. All right, that's one. And number 2, take them for holidays or vacation. Okay, then HOTS question, again the type 2. Okay, let's take a look at type 2. Agree or disagree, asking for ideas, give reasons here. So the first one, answer that, you agree or disagree. Or sometimes it can be like this, advice, asking you for advice and give reasons. So the example I given here is not agree or disagree, but asking you to give advice. So advice here and reason. Don't worry. As long as your answer is reasonable, you will get that 1 mark. All right. Okay. For example here, okay, see the advice here, see counselor. And then the reason why see the counselor? Seeking for an advice or to get help. Okay. All right. Please answer all 4 questions. 3, the answer is in the poem itself. You can copy it directly, but make sure when it asks, the question asks for word, make sure you only give word. Okay? If the question asks for phrase, phrase. If the question asks for you to give the line, line. Copy the whole thing. All right? And of course, make sure the spellings are correct. Okay? Then the hot one, the last one. Please answer. Think of any reasonable answer. Simple as may seem. Do not leave it empty. Do not throw away. I know poem is only 5 marks, but it's still a mark. Okay? Now, what else should remember? All right. Now, when I'm tempting the question A or B or C or even D, okay, the key, most important thing is you must understand the poem. And remember, you have learned 4 poems, 2 in Form 4 and 2 in Form 5. Okay, please read all of them because we don't know which poem will come out in SPM. And only one poem will come out. So you must understand the poem. Then know the meaning of the words, meaning the words using that in the poem itself. All right, just now. Third, okay, excuse me. Know an alternatives or synonym meaning in English. All right, any other words here besides the words? Okay, know what the pronouns are referring to. Okay, and then the 5th one, please know the underlying meaning of the expressions, okay, used in the poem. So please read all 4 poems and understand and remember. Okay, for the first one, know this one. Okay, tip number 2 there, know the meaning of the words. So the example I gave here, okay, some are taken from all 4. Okay, rough, the synonym is anger. Okay, crinkled. Okay, synonym is wrinkled. Blundered, the synonym means mistake. Okay, made mistake or erred. Awful, also meaning terrible or unpleasant. These are just a few simple examples. Right? Okay, now remember that I said just now, here, know what the pronouns are referring to? Okay. All right. Now the question is, okay, let me put it up. All right. Okay. In stanza 1, who does he refers to? This one is, I took it from, from the poem, The Charge of a Light Brigade. Okay. So here, all right, he is referring to the commander, the general. This is some of the answers, okay, that you can give, or the officer, okay, the officer in charge. So write down, okay. Then underlying meaning just now. Okay, you must remember, you must know what is the underlying meaning. Okay, let's take a look at this question. It came out in SPM 2017. In stanza 4, why do you think the foe was outstretched beneath the tree? This is from A Poison Tree. Okay. Okay, I repeat. In stanza 4, why do you think the foe was outstretched underneath or beneath the tree? Okay. And of course, the underlying meaning is there are some reasonable answer which can be accepted. One is dead. You can write one word, dead. Or you want to write in a sentence, a full sentence. He was killed. Or you can explain more. He ate you want to be more descriptive. He ate the poisonous apple. Okay. As long as the answer is correct, reasonable here, you get the point. Okay. All right. Okay, here, is a video, a link I gave by teacher Hafizuddin for your reference. If you want to know more about it, you can also refer here. His explanation is very simple and straight to the point as well. So with this, I will end my session here. All right. And good luck on your exam. Please remember the poems and answer shortly. Use short answer. All right. Bye. Now I would like to invite my colleague, Teacher Munjula, to present on the novel part. Thank you.
Simple ways to test this out. So I'm here on OBS, and this is what I happen to use at the churches I deal with. But again, these settings are pretty much similar across no matter whatever stream.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Manjula. Today, in this session, I'll be sharing with you some tips and guidelines to answer the novel question, Dear Mr. Kilmer by Anne Schraff. As you all know, this question is in paper 2 in section D. And it is the last question, that is question number 33. It carries 15 marks, 10 marks for your content and 5 marks for your language. Okay, the objectives of this session. This session will serve as a brief revision session of the plot and characters in the novel. We will explore some past year SPM questions. Okay, at the end of the session, you should be able to identify accurately the requirement of the questions and at the same time list down elements required in the questions. We will also explore some sample answers. And at the end of the session, you should be able to apply techniques shared here in this session in answering the assignment questions given here and subsequently your actual examination question. Okay, before I go into the tips and techniques of answering this question, let us watch a video on this novel. Those of you who have lost touch of the novel, this will help you to refresh your memory of the story. Let's watch it now. Okay, I also have another video here, the second one. This is actually where the novel has been dramatized. It is a local production and it is also quite interesting. I'll show you a short clip of the video now. Okay, I highly recommend you to watch this video because it has got all the important events and also all the dialogues from the text which you can use for your evidences. It will be very helpful for your evidences. Okay, next, we will do a brief revision on the characters. There are many videos in the YouTubes that you can watch on the characters. So I have 3 links here. We will watch one of it as a revision for you. Okay, I'm sorry, there were some technical problems, audio problem. So now we go into the techniques. Okay, there are two types of questions of the novel. Okay, the first one is the direct questions and the other one is the multi-layered questions. Now we will see what are the differences between these two types of questions. Okay, the first one, direct questions. Questions are precisely constructed, stating what is required. The second one is do not need much analysis or thinking, but rather clear at a glance. So direct questions are very clear cut, very specific. So these are the features of direct questions. And then we have multi-layered questions, mostly very general in nature, need a little analysis and planning, more details needed compared to direct questions. So these are the differences of the two types of questions. Now we will see the sample questions of the SPM question. Okay, this is a SPM question, past year question. Based on the novel you have studied, write about an event that makes you angry. With close reference to the text, give reasons why the event makes you feel this way. Okay, so first thing you need to do is you have to identify the keywords. So I have highlighted the keywords here. And then you list down what are the elements needed for this question. So if you look at the elements, first thing you need to identify an event. One event only. Okay, answer the question, one event only. And then next you give reasons why it makes you angry. So when you see reasons, of course, you have to write more than one reason. And then you support with the evidences from the text. Now we will look at the sample answer for this question. Okay, sample answer. You can, the easiest way to start your answer is by writing this sentence. The novel that I read was Dear Mr. Kilmer by Anne Shroff. Okay, you state the name of the novel. Then, an event that made me angry was when the Shermer's Tavern was vandalized. I was angry because of two reasons. So now if you look back at the question, the elements, okay, first one has been answered, that is an event. And then here, reasons, the writer is giving two reasons for this question. Okay, first reason, firstly, I was angry because some Turtle Lake people were being unfair to the Shermers. So this is the reason. So you state the reason first. This is the topic sentence. And then followed by evidences from the text. The evidences are they vandalized the Shermer's Tavern. They painted dirty Huns all over the walls. They said that the Shermers were Huns. Some Turtle Lake people believed that Huns were a barbaric clan originated from Germany. They said that the Shermers were unpatriotic because they spoke German and served Hun food at their tavern while a war was going on against Germany. So topic sentence followed by evidences from the text. Then you go to the next reason in a new paragraph. Secondly, I was angry because Richard's classmates were being unkind to the Shermers after the Shermers tavern was vandalized. So the thing that I've highlighted here is the reason. So once you have stated the reason, you give your evidences. Mrs. Hanson brought a card to express regret for what had happened. Mrs. Hanson asked her class to sign the card. The troublemakers like Abner, Harry, Blanche, and Peggy refused to sign the card. They warned other classmates not to sign the card. The boys were afraid Abner and Harry would hit them. The girls worried that popular girls like Peggy and Blanche would not speak to them. However, Richard was the only student who signed the sympathy card for Hannah Shermer. After school, Richard took the card from Mrs. Hanson. He wanted to give the card to Hannah. Hannah accepted the card reluctantly. Later, Hannah apologized to Richard for being rude. This was the beginning of their friendship. So these are all the evidences for the reason. And at the end of it, you give a conclusion. In conclusion, the event where the Shermers was being mistreated infuriated me. I truly believe that discrimination was unjust. So if you look at the layout of this answer, it is very well organized. There's a link between one paragraph to the other. This is how you should try to organize your answers. Okay, next we will see another sample question of the direct question. People should be allowed to follow their dreams. Write about a character who wants to realize his or her dream. Okay, so first thing is you highlight the keywords of this question. Then you list down what are the things that you need to write for this question. So first thing is you have to identify a character. Since they specify here a character, so you only write about one character who wants to realize his or her dream. And then next element that you need to address is what dream this character aspires to realize, and then supported by evidences. Okay, this is how you list down what are the details that you need to put into your answer. Okay, we are done with the direct question. We will go to the multi-layered question. Okay, this is also a SPM exam paper question. It is important to stand up for what is right. Discuss how this is portrayed in the novel you have read. Okay, when you read this question, definitely you have to read few times to understand what is expected out of this question. So first thing is you list down again. Okay, here they did not mention whether you have to talk about one character or more than one character. So which means it is up to you. Okay, character or characters. That is the first element. Second, how the character or characters portray or portrays this value. Okay, here you have to elaborate with the events from the text. Next, you see the word important here. Okay, you also have to address this. Reasons why it is important to have this value, and then supported with evidences from the text. Now we will look at the sample answer for this question. Okay, sample answer, as I told you just now, you start the sentence, you start the answer by stating which novel you are talking about. The novel that I read was Dear Mr. Kilmer by Anne Schraff. The statement, it is important to stand up for what is right, was portrayed by Richard in 3 different events. Okay, so now we go back. We'll see character has been identified as Richard. Events here, the writer is giving 3 different events. Okay, next paragraph. Firstly, this statement was portrayed when Richard purposely missed shooting a buck. So the event is here, okay, at the first sentence, followed by evidences from the novel. Richard thought that hunting was not important. Richard could not kill animals. Thus, Richard's elder brother was upset with Richard because Richard purposely misfired. Richard's father, Pa, was also disappointed with Richard. Pa asked Richard why he purposely missed shooting the buck. Richard told Pa that he had no right to kill it. Richard told Pa that it felt painful and sad to kill an animal. Pa told Richard not to go hunting anymore if he did not like it. Even though Pa disagreed with Richard's opinion about hunting, he did not force Richard to do what he hated. So, if you look at the layout, state the event, evidences, and then you need to relate back to the question. What Richard stands up for? He thinks it is not right to kill animals. Okay. Then we look at the second event. Secondly, this statement was portrayed when Richard was the only student who signed a sympathy card for the Shermans. So this is the event, then followed by the evidences. So if you look at this evidence here, it is exactly like the one that we saw in the previous sample, which means that you can use the same event to answer different questions, but you need to adapt it accordingly, what is required in the question. Okay, when the Sherman's Tavern was vandalized, Mrs. Henson asked the class to sign a sympathy card for them. The troublemakers like Abner, Harry, Blanche, and Peggy refused to sign the card. They warned other classmates not to sign the card. The boys were afraid that Abner and Harry would hit them. The girls worried that popular girls like Peggy and Blanche would not speak to them. However, Richard was the only student who signed the sympathy card for Hannah Sherman. Richard believed that the Shermans were discriminated by some Turtle Lake people because they were Germans. So here, what does Richard stand up for? He is against racial discrimination. So you relate it back to the question. Third event. Thirdly, this statement was portrayed when Hannah declined the role of liberty. So what you do, you state the event first, followed by the evidences. Hannah and Richard won the roles of Lady Liberty and Doughboy respectively because they wrote the best essays. Mrs. Henson asked the class to write an essay as one of the activities for a patriotic program which helped sell Liberty bonds. Many students were angry when Hannah won the role. They regarded Hannah as an unpatriotic German, although she was an American citizen. Hannah told Richard that the essay started a little war in Turtle Lake. She did not want to cause any more problems, so she declined the role of Lady Liberty. Richard wanted to support Hannah. Therefore, Richard declined his part as the doughboy. His family, his schoolmates, and the Turtle Lake people criticized him for turning down this role. They called him unpatriotic and a traitor. This criticism never stopped Richard from standing up for what is right. So event followed by evidences, and then what does Richard stand up for? Okay, he thinks it is the right thing to support Hannah no matter what others say about him. Okay, so and he declined his role as the doughboy. And then a conclusion. In conclusion, Richard was truly a character who holds on to his principles to do what was right. So again, this you can see the layout of the answer. First paragraph state the name of the novel, followed by your content points, and then you state your evidences for each event that you're talking about, and finally a conclusion. Okay, now we look at another sample question of multi-layered question. This is also a past year SPM question. Suggest one character in the novel you have read who you think is a good role model for teenagers. Briefly describe the character and give reasons for your choice with close reference to the text. So I have highlighted all the keywords for this question. First thing is you need to identify one character, and that character should show as a good role model for teenagers. So you have to choose the character wisely. Okay, and then you describe the character. And then lastly, you have to give reasons why you choose this character, which means you have to justify your choice of character, okay, your answer. And of course, you have to support it with evidences from the text. So if you look at this question, you have to address 5 different elements. That is why we call this multi-layered. Okay. So we are done with the 2 types of questions. Now I have an assignment question for you. Using the details from the novel that you have studied, write about a difficult decision made by one of the characters. With close reference to the text, do you think this was the right decision? List down the elements you need to address in this question before you write your answer. Okay, I have highlighted the keywords here too. Okay, in 3 seconds, can you write how many elements that you need to address in this question in the chat box? 3 seconds. Three seconds, just put the figure 2, 3, 4, 5, whichever. Okay, so let's see what are the things that you need to address here. First thing is you need to address the character, okay, who made a difficult decision. Okay, you have to choose the character wisely, okay, because you need to write evidences. So you need to choose one character who has made a difficult decision in the story. Okay, you need character, then you need events, you need references, and the last part, you need to give your opinion. Do you think this was the right decision? So altogether, you should have 4 elements. If you got it, bravo, you're on the right track. Okay, next one. I have another question for you. It is important to have a person you look up to in your life. From the novel that you have read, write about one character that you look up to. Give reasons why you choose him or her. List down the elements you need to address in this question before you write your answer. Okay, I also have highlighted the keywords here. Another 3 seconds for you to give the answer. How many elements you need to address in this question in your chat box now? 3 seconds. Okay, so here you need to address one character that you look up to. Okay, second, give reasons why you choose this, him or her, and lastly, your evidences. So you need to have 3 elements for this question. If you got it right, well done. Okay. So now I think you know how to differentiate between a direct question and a multi-layered question. When it is so straightforward like this, it is a direct question. Okay, next, more tips for you. Okay, characters in the novel. Okay, main characters, Richard Knight, Hannah Shermers, Mr. Joyce Kilmer, Mrs. Hanson, Pa, and Gus, and we also have minor characters. If the question states write about a main character, and then you choose from this list. Okay, minor characters are important for you to use them in your elaboration. As what we saw in the sample answer just now, we came across the name Abner, Blanche, Peggy, and Harry. So you can use these minor characters to support your evidences. And also, when you're writing the answer, when you're choosing the characters, make sure you choose the character which is appropriate for the question, where you have enough content to write about that character. Okay, so you have to think first and plan out how you're going to write your answer. Next, themes. Okay, most of the time, students find it very difficult to write about themes, to elaborate on themes, and also they find it difficult to differentiate between themes and moral values. Okay, let me explain to you. Themes are just the subject matter in the novel or in any literary text for that matter. Okay, and also, or you can find what are the main ideas in the literary text to find out what are the themes. Okay, and also it is the issues dealt with in the literary text. For example, if in this novel, Dear Mr. Kilmer, even if you have not done any revision or you have not memorized anything about themes, and if the question asks you to write about the themes, you can, if you know the story, you're well versed with the story, you can write the themes. You can come up with your own themes. For example, what can you see in this novel? What are the subject matters? You can see friendship. You can see family relationship in this novel, Dear Mr. Kilmer. You can also see how war brings sorrow to the characters in the story. So you can come up with your own themes too, as long as you know the story. You are well versed with the story. Okay, so themes are subject matter, main ideas, or issues dealt with in a literary text. Okay, in this novel, what are the themes? Family ties. Family ties, you can talk about Richard's family, the relationship between Richard and Pa, the relationship between Gus and Pa, how different they are. You can compare them, how Gus is always trying to fit into the family, whereas Richard is right the opposite of Gus. You can also talk about how Pa misses his brother Roland, who died in the war. So these are all about family ties. Being true to yourself, you can talk about Richard. In many situations, you can see that Richard is very honest about himself. Okay, third one, racial polarization, respect for human beings. If you can't remember this word, you can just write racial discrimination. And what are the evidences you can give? You can say Hannah was bullied by the classmates. Hannah's tavern was vandalized. She had to decline the role of Lady Liberty. All these are supporting points for this theme. Standing up for what is right is portrayed by Richard. We saw in the sample answer just now. True friendship. True friendship, you can talk about Hannah and Richard. And also you can talk about Richard and Mr. Kilmer. Although they have not met face to face, but they became very close. And Mr. Kilmer became like a mentor to Richard. So when he died, Richard was devastated. So true friendship, war and effects. Okay, here you can write about Roland, how he died. Okay, in the war, Mr. Kilmer died in the war, and then Gus joined the army, which Pa was not happy about, and also Hannah's brother Otto joined the army. So if you know the story, you can come up with your own themes and you give the appropriate evidences. Next, moral values. Now that you know what are themes, it is easy to differentiate it with moral values. What are moral values in a literary text? Values that you see in the novel. When you read the novel, what are the moral values that you see? Like, for example, like Richard, what kind of moral values he has? He's kind. He thinks that it is not right to kill animals. Okay, and also moral values that you learned after reading the novel. So if the question is about moral values, you can talk about what you learned from the novel. Okay, let's look at the moral values in this novel. Love for family members. This one you can support it with give evidence about Richard's family. Respecting others. Okay, for example, the classmates of Richard, they do not respect Hannah at all. But Richard respects her regardless of her background or her origin. You can support that evidence here. Courage and resilience, portrayed by Richard. Compassion, portrayed by Richard also, where he understands what Hannah was going through and he has been like very supportive all the time. Patriotism, portrayed by Roland, who died in the war, portrayed by Mr. Kilmer, who also died in the war. As you know, Mr. Kilmer was a very famous poet, and yet he was willing to die for the country. Okay, these are the moral values. Events. Okay, there are many events in this novel, but these 8 events are important. You should know them so that you can use them to support your answers. First one is hunting trip. As you all know, how Richard purposely misfired the buck. Second, Hannah's tavern was vandalized. Richard signing the sympathy card. Mrs. Henson reading the poem tree in the class. So number 4, this is important because this is how Richard started to communicate with Mr. Kilmer through the letter. Richard receives a reply from Mr. Kilmer. Hannah declines the role of Lady Liberty. Mr. Kilmer dies in the war. Richard writes a poem dedicated to Mr. Kilmer. The last one is important too. How the relationship between Richard and Pa changed after this incident, number 8. Okay, these are the 8 events. With these events, if you know these events, you can answer any question. You just have to adapt it according to the requirement of the question. Next, we go into organization. How do you organize your answer? In the first paragraph, straight the novel you are referring to. We saw the sample just now. The character or event, etc., that you are going to elaborate. This is first paragraph. Okay, second paragraph, you state your content. Okay, after you state your content, elaborate based on the events in the story and then give references from the text. This is a good sequence. Okay, state the point and then elaborate and then give references from the text. Then when you go to your next point, you repeat steps 2, 3, and 4 and so forth until you finish all your content point. Okay, and then at the end of it, you write a conclusion. Your conclusion can be just one sentence, which concludes everything that you have written. One sentence is suffice. Okay, next, do's and don'ts. What you should and you shouldn't do when you're writing your answers. Do's. State the name of the novel that you're referring to. Okay, I told you just now, state the name of the novel. Why is it important? Because as you know, in number 33 question in the paper 2, you are given actually 3 options of novels that you can choose. So you need to state which one you're talking about so that the examiner knows which novel you're referring to. So it is important. Next, elaborate your evidences as in detail and as accurately as possible. You normally see this phrase in the question. What does it mean? It means that you have to give precise details from the novel. Examples. For example, you can quote dialogues. You can quote which chapter you're talking about or which line you're talking about, etc. Next, list down the elements needed in the question so that you will not miss out any details required. Okay, I have showed you just now. Well, once you read the question, the first thing is you list down what are the things that you need to address in that question. Why is it important? Some of you might think it is not important, but it is. Because when you start writing without listing down, you might miss out the important details that you need to include in the answer. When you do this, you are going to lose marks. So the best thing is list down. It won't take long. Just in point form, a quick list will do. Okay, what are the don'ts? Do not write the summary of the novel unless it is specifically requested in the question. Okay, most of the time students, when I mark the papers, students like to write the summary of the novel, which is not necessary at all. Okay, you just need to address the question. Unless it is asked, then only you write. Most of the time it is not necessary, so don't waste your time. Do not write more than what is required. As we saw the sample question just now, if they've stated a character or an event, so you only write about one character and one event. Do not go beyond that. You're wasting your time. In fact, if you write more than that, you're showing the examiner that you do not understand the question. So stick to what is required. Do not attempt to write your answers without planning or drafting first. Okay, this one I spoke just now. Drafting and planning is what you need to list down first. If you need to write 3 events, you write in your draft how many events, what are the events that you're going to write. Then you go accordingly, step by step and answer your question. Okay, how marks are awarded for this section? Okay, content 10 marks. Okay, what does the examiner looks out for your to give you marks? Okay, consistently relevant and convincing response to the task, which means you are responding to the question, you are responding to the task consistently with relevant evidences from the text. That means you're not writing out of the topic. Always providing textual evidence, detailed and well developed. Okay, this one, we also saw this. You have to be precise about your evidences. Marks for language, 5 marks. Okay, what do they look out for? Accuracy in terms of vocabulary, spelling, grammar, punctuation, coherence, etc. And also your organization. Okay, organization, I have explained just now. Start off by stating the name of the text that you're going to talk about, and then followed by a content point, topic sentence, and then elaboration, then next paragraph, another content point, and so forth until you write the conclusion. Okay. Okay, I have some links here of sample questions and answers. Okay, the first one is you just have to type Bank Soalan Malaysia, Bank Soalan SPM, then you choose English. Okay, if you look here, there are plenty of question papers with questions and also marking scheme. So you can try out the questions here, or you can read the answers in the marking scheme. Next, we go into another link. This is Bumi Gemilang. Bumi Gemilang, if you look, there are a lot of past year questions together with the sample answers. And if you scroll down, you can find notes on synopsis, theme, summary, plot, setting, characters, characteristics, moral value, point of view, tone, mood, language, and style. Okay, this is another website. Another one is Guide My Essay. This is a good website because they have the synopsis for each chapter. Can you look here? Okay, this one, if you want to read chapter 1, the synopsis, you just have to click on the chapter. And also they have the elements of the novel, physical setting, time, about the writer, and then notes of about the characters and so on. Okay. The last one is a YouTube.
Hi, all the online to 5 students and all the parents. Are you looking for better? Hello all. Welcome to Easy Study English from SPM. In this episode, we will be discussing about the themes of
Okay, so this is a video just now that you saw. It is about the themes. They also have the sample question on theme and sample answer. There are actually ample of resources in the internet for you to do your revision. If you're the kind who find it difficult to read notes or to read books, it's a good way of learning through videos. You know, they have a lot, characters, setting, anything that you want to read, you can read it here, which is, I think, more interesting than reading the notes from the books. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of the session. Okay, I hope this session has been beneficial for you. I would like to thank PPD PETALING UTAMA for inviting me to give this talk. And to all the SPM candidates, I wish you all the best in your upcoming SPM examination. And remember, you can do it. Thank you.